Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So, we are on week 4 of the virtual parenting circle. And just to give you a reminder of who we are, my name is Mercedes. I work at Native Child and Family Services of Toronto, and I am a CAPC worker. And we develop and implement programming and group ideas for caregivers with children 0 to 6. And I am joined here with two of my coworkers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Hudson, and I am an AECD program worker, and I'm excited to talk to you today about children's mental health.
And hi, everyone. I'm Natalie, and I am an Enoche or family home visitor. I am also on the early years team with Anna and Mercedes.
Beautiful. So Anna is going to give us a recap of what we talked about last week.
Wonderful. So, hello, everyone, and welcome. So, last week's topic was safety with children in the home. And what we're going to discuss is either very good information for the house or the apartment. So we talked about safety proofing the home, looking for potential things that could harm baby, toddler, or child, things like cords, plugs, household cleaning products, both in the kitchen and in the bathroom, stove, uh, drawers where fingers could get jammed. We also talked about gates by stairs, being mindful of entrances and exits and having proper locks and latches, getting on all fours or at child's level in order to see what is in reach and what may be enticing to your child that may be potentially dangerous or harmful. Uh, we also talked about safety during bath time and provided suggestions by having all items needed at hand and always keeping baby at arm's reach. We also discussed choking and suggestions on how to prevent it. Sharing the room as an option, but having babies sleep on their own in a bassinet or crib. Mattress should be firm, no pillows, no stuffed animals, no bumper pads, and always placing baby on their backs, as Natalie stated last week, uh, so baby can look up and see their ancestors. So back to today's topic, which is children's mental health and mental well-being.
Thanks, Anna. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about what children's mental health is. And mental health in general affects the way people think, feel, and act. So, taking care of our mental health is just as important as taking care of our physical health and our body. So, as a parent, you play a very important role with your child's mental health. So, what you say, how you say it, what you do, and what environment you create for your child really all impacts their mental health and their overall well being. So, you might ask, how can I nurture my child's mental health? So, as parents, you provide a solid foundation for your child's mental health during infancy. So, it really starts there. Going back to the concept of responsiveness when it comes to the needs of that baby. So, when a parent rather is picking up a child, for example, when they're crying and they're responding to that child's cry, and they're trying to figure out why that child is crying, and trying to figure out what that baby is communicating to that parent. Also, the concept of serve and return, which we've talked about. So that's the exchange of interactions between a baby and parents, and this can be through actions or through words. So if a child, a baby, is smiling at a parent and the parent smiles back, or if a baby is laughing and a parent is present and laughing back at them, that exchange between that the parent and the child helps them to feel secure, helps them to feel loved and respected. And in turn, all of that helps to build healthy brains and a healthy mental health foundation. So it really does start as in infancy. And then as children grow up, we can help nurture their mental health in many ways as well. So helping them build strong, caring relationships with us as parents, with their extended families, so with their aunties, uncles, grandparents, and also with their peers, helping them socialize and helping them build friendships with their peers. Helping children develop self esteem so that they feel good about themselves, also very important in nurturing their mental health. So, showing them lots of love and acceptance, praising them when they do well, recognizing their efforts when they achieve something, and asking questions about what their interests are, very important, and also helping them um, set realistic goals for their age. Another point is how we can help foster a child's mental health is listening and respecting their feelings. So it's okay for a child to feel upset or angry, just like we might as adults sometimes. It's very important to help them name that emotion or feeling, and help them work through it and talk about how they're feeling. That's very important. Keeping the communication lines open as well. And family mealtime, for example, can be a great opportunity for parents to talk to children about what's gone on that day for them and how they feel, how they're feeling today, for example. So, lastly, I wanted to talk about creating a safe, positive home environment as well for your child. So, stressful situations, as we know, are going to happen. It's very important for us as parents to recognize that and to take some time to reflect when a stressful incident occurs, and recognize when we need to reach out for help or support, so that we're able to help our child in turn navigate through those stressful situations as well. Being aware of our child's media use, for example, the content and the amount of time they spend on screens, also who they're talking to, over social media, all that is very important to be mindful of. And being careful about our discussions. So, serious family issues, for example, as we do encourage parents to be honest and open with their children, some discussions and topics are really meant to be adult discussions and topics. So just being mindful of what you share with your child. There's always a good way to share with your child and a way that's appropriate for their age. And you can always get support if you're not sure of how to approach a situation like that. And lastly, just making time for physical activity, for play, and for family activities is very, very important.
All right. Thanks, Nat. Did you still have some points around nurturing the seed?
Oh, yes. So, nurturing the seed um, is a program through the Infant Mental Health Promotion, and it provides resources for Indigenous families specifically. So I just wanted to share a little excerpt from them, from their program, and it says that children are like a growing plant or a flower. So if children are the seeds and the leaves, the parents and the extended family and the community are the water and the sunlight that nurtures those children, those growing children. And so the role of the parents and the extended family and the community in nurturing that child's development and mental health is so crucial, just like a growing plant or a living thing, any other living thing.
Sorry, I was on mute and I was trying to talk. Thanks, Nat. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving on to a short video. It's about 3 minutes long, and it's going to be talking about toxic stress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be share screening my desktop. So just give me a moment. Here we go. And here is the video.
Want to give our children what they need to grow to their full potential. And as parents, we play an important role in their development. But our parenting is affected by the supports and challenges in our lives, including experiences that cause what's known as toxic stress. Stress is called toxic when it doesn't let up, and there aren't supportive relationships to help us cope. That can make it hard to get through the day, let alone be the best caregivers we can be. The overwhelming burden of toxic stress can affect the health and well-being of adults. It can also affect the development of children in ways that can last a lifetime. Stress that puts us in a constant state of fight or flight can make it feel like we're always on edge, or like it's impossible to calm down. And these feelings can overload our ability to provide the supportive relationships that children need in order to thrive. Think of toxic stress as heavy cargo. Just as a truck can only haul so much weight before it stops moving forward, challenging life circumstances, like losing a job or not having a place to live, can weigh us down. And just as a truck can break down if it carries too much for too long, we too can wear down from being overburdened without the support we need. When toxic stress is related to things we can't control, like poverty, abuse, or racism, it can feel especially heavy to take on. But experiencing toxic stress doesn't have to determine who we are or how we act. And understanding how stress affects us can empower us to make change in our lives. There are things we can do to buffer ourselves and our children against the effects of even the most intense stress. Just as redistributing cargo from an overloaded truck can help it run again, supports and services, things like food pantries, job training programs, or even just talking with someone who cares, can help us focus on caring for ourselves and our children. And just as regular maintenance is required to keep a truck running, reliable access to community services can help us manage the load during challenging times. Reaching out to get support can be difficult, but things that might seem very small, like sitting and breathing deeply, playing I Spy with your child, or even sharing a walk or a snuggle, can make a difference. Over time, these small steps can build our resilience and our children's by strengthening the skills and relationships that help us cope. And our communities can build resilience too by providing services and opportunities that help all families thrive. Supports like these help build a strong foundation for developing brain architecture. So the earlier we can provide them, the better. But the brain is capable of change throughout life, and it's never too late for a tune-up. Coping with and healing from toxic stress takes a lot of effort and support. But we all need the help of others in difficult times. And building resilience and strength in our families and communities is one of the most important investments we can make as a society. In the end, it will help all of us become the parents that we want to be.
All right, so that was a nice, quick little video about toxic stress. And a good point to make with that is toxic stress. When we think about it, we think often that stress and mental health is only related to adults. But more so in the recent years, people are coming out with studies and people are really starting to realize that stress and mental health affects anyone at any age, so even our little ones. And we all can carry quite a bit of toxic stress or any type of stress within ourselves. In the video, it mentions fight or flight or freeze, which are some of the reactions we naturally have to stressful events. Some stress is okay. It's what gets us up in the morning, gets us moving, encourages us to stay on task. But repetitive, excessive stress, like really stressful events that you typically wouldn't experience in your day to day life, are what really affects your mental health. And one of the things that we really can do to combat that with little ones is seeking out supports and services. So, going to speak to, if you were within our agency, maybe a youth worker. It could be if you're a caregiver, talking with an Enoche. If you have a case manager, speaking with them and trying to get some resources to better support yourself. And for little ones, it's showing coping strategies and being able to model those kind of coping strategies. So, it could be talking out your feelings. It could be taking a break and sitting out for a couple moments and coming back. A good point is to respond and not react. Sometimes when stressful events happen and we are full with emotions, like we could be feeling extreme stress, anger, anxiety, instead of just reacting to those emotions in that moment, take a couple moments for yourself until your body's calmed down a bit and you can have better thoughts and respond in a more articulate way. Like think about what you want to say or what kind of point you want to get across. And by modeling that kind of behavior, we're also showing children how to do it. Give emotions that you're feeling names. So if your child comes up to you and they're trying to express to you how they're feeling, but they don't have that name for that emotion quite yet, like my tummy hurts, I'm feeling really warm, and I just want to smash something. Then you would tell them, oh, it sounds like you're feeling really angry right now. And then you can talk it through with them. Maybe it's if a child is nonverbal and they haven't quite developed that yet, or they are, they just are nonverbal, then maybe it's finding some kind of a way to get them to express that emotion through coloring or using some sensory objects like playing with Play-Doh, or maybe it's them being able to express themselves with something like sign language. So find whatever you can to give your child the kind of teaching strategies you can so they have those tools within their own kits to express themselves and be able to cope in a more healthy way, by coping in ways that are a little bit harsher on the body, whether it be like screaming into a pillow at the top of your lungs. Like, yeah, that's a great way for someone to cope if that's the only way they know how. But maybe it's another way of turning on some calming music and taking a nice bubble bath. Finding ways to encourage more of a positive reaction within yourselves can really be all the benefit you need. Any other points my friends want to make? All right. So what we could do now is we can move into brainstorming some ideas. So Nat, Anna, do you have any ideas?
So I do know some.
Sorry, pardon me.
Right now we're moving into brainstorming some ideas.
I do know what some parents do. Some parents have tried, which I observed that really worked well, was when their children were learning about emotions. And like you mentioned, Mercedes, being able to vocalize those emotions, name them, or even to draw them out. The parents, their strategy in this particular case was to validate the child's experience, their emotions, and then to be present with them as they went through what they were feeling. So um, the child knew that the parent was with them, and they did a breathing technique together. So they both breathed in for a few seconds and then released. And I think the parent said that they're breathing and then releasing like a rocket ship, and that really worked for that child, for example. And they, after that whole process, the child went on to play and do their thing. And it was really cool to see that that parent was present with the child through that process of um, navigating through their feelings.
You also mentioned another time that you had a client or a community member who did a calm jar with their little one.
Yes. So that's a great activity that parents can do as well. It doesn't take many ingredients. Um, it's basically hot water, some glitter glue, and some glitter. And you put it in like a glass mason jar. And it kind of has like a calming effect for children. It looks like a galaxy where the glitter is sparkling all in the jar, and it's really slow to go down and settle at the bottom. So parents will share this with their children, will make it with their children, and when their child is feeling anxious or upset, we'll give them the jar to kind of focus on or to look at. And the glitter and the colors and everything in the jar and the way that the child moves the jar can be very calming and relaxing. So that's a great strategy as well, when a child is feeling upset or tense.
Nice. Anna, did you have any ideas?
Yes. So sometimes, um, as a parent, we may not know that our child is experiencing toxic stress because from an outsider point of view, we may not understand. We may say, "Oh, we don't see any potential harm." However, the child may be experiencing something at school, such as bullying, and this could be very, very providing like a lot of toxic stress mentally and emotionally. And this is why the constant communication and that attachment uh, in being aware, listening to
All right. It looks like
this way. So
oh,
it's a chance to really uh, uh, look a little bit deeper with your child.
all right. So, and a couple other points that we could make would be again, like modeling behavior. So, when you are feeling very stressed, be very mindful or try to be. I know it can be really hard in those kind of times because our brains get a bit foggy, but you always have a little bit of an audience who is always watching you. Children are very observant. So, depending on how you react, so it could be the words you say, if you express yourselves by maybe a physical gesture, so maybe you're pounding a counter, like children do pick up on that stuff very easily. So being trying to be more aware of how you're responding to stress in your life. Again, we're not all perfect and we try the best we can, and we're all constantly learning different ways to cope with stress. So just keep trying to introduce stuff to yourself, because not only is your child learning at this moment, but you are too, right? And then if you also ask some friends or some family what they do, you probably have a wealth of resources and knowledge at your hands by just connecting with other people and kind of seeing what worked best for them. And it's not a all one size fits all kind of approach. You're going to have to play around with different ideas and see what works best for your child, because every child is different. They're going to be hitting different developmental milestones at different times. They develop differently. So what your child's going through may be different than what someone else's child's going through. So always be kind and gentle to yourself, be kind and gentle to your child, and just do the best you can within these situations. It's easy enough to say don't stress about it. We're all going to stress, so just do the best you can. All right. Does anyone else have any other points before we wrap up?
So
Yes.
keeping, oh, go ahead, Anna.
Or just wanting to say that even as adults, if we're needing support, seek out a little bit of counseling if possible. Because if we're very busy with our own toxic stress, it's very hard for us to be attentive to our child's needs because we're just possibly in our own fight or flight or freeze response. So it's always nice to get a little support along the way in order to get you through that.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point, Anna, and keeping in mind as parents that your mental health and your well being are just as important. And, the more that we practice this with our children, it really does tend to pay off in the long run. So, as children go into adolescence and adulthood, they're more able to navigate through stressful times and self-regulate and hopefully have better mental health outcomes the earlier you start.
Great points, both of you. Okay, so that was, oh, that was weird. Okay, so that is children's mental health. We're on week 4 again. Next week will be week 5, and then week 6. That's the last session we'll have. Next week is going to be routines and consistency. So please tune in again. And if you have any questions, you can always send us an email or a DM, which is a direct message. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook. Like, share, comment, give us some feedback. And we'll see you on the next video. So take care. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Take care.